Hey guys. Thank you all so much for 16,000 subscribers. I say it all the time, but I love you all so much and I'm so glad you're allowing me to create these videos. I don't have that good of a life, so this is an outlet to help me distract myself from all that nonsense. Anyways, I know this is supposed to be angst, but it ends on a happy note like all of my videos do. There's a trigger warning for mentions of abandonment and family issues if you need it. Also, just reminding anyone that doesn't know that my Draw This in Your Own Style challenge on Instagram is still going on, and will end on the 27th of October if you guys are still interested in joining. As always, I own none of the characters, and with that being said, onto the video.
Suna. You are so batshit annoying, you know that? Or thank you, Red Heart. That wasn't a compliment. It was to me. P. Is there a point to this conversation, or are you just here to piss me off? No, don't worry. I know you secretly love me deep down. I don't. One day we'll be brother-in-laws, and you'll cry thanking me for always being there for you and my brother. You literally stalked us on our first date and didn't even try to be subtle about it. You kept whispering to your boyfriend like OMG are they gonna kiss, and then being overly loud about that movie. Oh yeah. Oh well. Have you seen Osamu? No. What do you mean no? He told me he was walking home with you today because you needed to help him with literature homework. Question mark? Did you forget him at school or something? He told me he was going home with you today. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Our mom is looking for him because she needs both us to help her out with something. Well, can't you just do it? She needs us to help her grade like 3 months worth of quizzes and tests. 3 months? Yeah. Jesus. Now you know where Osamu gets his procrastination streak from. Oh, well, I'm sure it won't be too rough. Suna, aren't you concerned Osamu lied to both of us? Not really. Now I have to go feed my pet fox. Pet fox? You don't have a pet fox? I don't think anyone has a pet fox. Bye. Suna. 5 minutes later. Ugh. Can you believe that Omi? Sakusa nods, writing down something on the paper in front of him. Yup, I can't believe it. It's just so annoying, you know, the bastard never lies and isn't even answering any of our texts and calls. Sakusa stops and looks over to his boyfriend. Atsumu smiles, holding up Sakusa's phone in one hand. Oops. Sakusa huffs, looking back down at the paper in front of him. Whatever. Atsumu whines, marking a point wrong off the paper in front of him. We never hide anything from each other. Omi, what if he's like, turning into a spy, or something? No offense, but Osamu can barely remember his multiplication table. I doubt he's a spy, or something. Do you need to know your multiplication table to be a spy? Fuck if I know, but even if you don't, he's not the best at hiding anything. Atsumu wags the red pen in his hand. True, you wouldn't keep secrets from me, right Omi? Sakusa looks up, smirking. What about when I'm ready to propose? Should I just warn you beforehand? Atsumu turns red, burying his face into his palms. Omi. Sakusa stands up and comes around to Atsumu's side of the table, taking his hands away from his face and leaning down and kissing him softly. Don't stress about it too much, Atsumu. I'm sure he'll tell you when he gets home. Atsumu whines, wrapping his arms around Sakusa's torso and pressing his face into his boyfriend's stomach. I hope so. Sakusa allows Atsumu to hold on to him for 10 minutes, the boy all but close to sleep, before patting his head and untangling himself from his grasp. Time to get back to work. Ugh. Thanks for helping me with this, Omi. I had nothing to do anyways, so. Atsumu pouts. And here I was, expecting a cute anything for you, honey. Sakusa smirks, picking up one of their mena pens and throwing it at Atsumu. The twin just lets it hit him on his pouting face. Meh. Osamu feels as if a weight had been lifted off his shoulders the minute he exited the office, bending at the knees slightly and placing his hands on them. Did that go well? Did he like me? Why am I speaking to myself out loud like a crazy person? Damn. Stretching out his limbs, He swallows down his nerves and opens his phone, automatically pressing on Suna's number and holding the phone to his ear. It takes 2 rings before his boyfriend answers. So, how did it go? It went really well, I think. I mean, I rambled about a nigiri for like 10 minutes straight, but he was smiling. Normally when I ramble about food for 10 minutes straight, people tell me to shut up. Well, to be fair, you do go into quite a bit of detail. Yeah, well, he seemed to really like me. He said I was still on the waitlist to get in, but he'd be calling me soon to tell me whether it's an affirmative yes or number. I'm sure you'll get in. I mean, it's culinary school. How hard can it be? You'd be surprised how competitive this school is. I have to depend completely on extracurriculars and letters of recommendations. The dean even told me he liked me, but it'd be hard to decide if I can get in because of my grades. Well, did you let him know your issues? No. Osamu. They're embarrassing. Suna. Do you know how many teachers have always shit on me for getting all my letters and numbers and shit mixed up? I can barely read at this point. Still, Osamu, there's no reason to be ashamed of it. It may take you a little longer to get to the point, but you still always get there. That's only because of Tsumu tutoring me. If I didn't have him. Osamu swallows, moving out of the way as someone passes by. I know. Speaking of Tsumu, he was going insane trying to figure out why you lied to him. What? You didn't stick to the plan? No, I didn't. Suna. It didn't matter. Anyways, your mom needs you guys to grade papers or some shit, and he would have just asked to put you on the phone and to come over. Osamu closes his eyes. Shit. Yeah. God, I don't know what I'm going to do now. Why not just tell him you're planning on staying behind and going to a local culinary school? You don't get it, Suna. He thinks we're going to the same university with Sakusa, and those guys from Nakoma. I can't. He'd be crushed. Well, you can't lie to him forever. Osamu chews on his bottom lip. I don't even know if I'm in yet. Still, you need to tell him. Osamu swallows. Can I come over and hang out with you for a little bit, first? Sure, but don't think you're escaping a lecture. Ugh, sometimes I feel as though you're as bad as Kita. I mean, I could call up Kita and tell him about your dilemma. Would you prefer that? Number. Alright then, fine. Now get your cute ass over here. Osamu blushes. Suna. It is cute. Now chop chop. I don't have all day. Suna disconnects, and Osamu looks down at his messages. He had Atsumu currently muted, but the little 35 hanging on top of his contact made him cringe. God, he was so screwed. Do you have to go? I know. Sakusa runs one hand through Atsumu's hair, tugging him forward and pressing a kiss to his head. I don't like leaving you either. Atsumu huffs, squeezing him around the waist tightly. I'm so ready for us to share an apartment soon. Oh yes, I'm 100% prepared to whip you into shape and make sure you're on top of your cleaning. Even without dating you, I was always neat. Omi-kun. I know, I'm just teasing. You know I love you. Atsumu blushes and smiles softly. I love you too. Atsumu leans up and slots their lips together, kissing softly and letting it stay like that for a moment before pulling away. Okay, it's time for me to go now. Bye baby. Bye. Omi. Sakusa pulls away from him, and walks out the front door. Atsumu stands in the entrance, and it's only after Sakusa waves goodbye to him one more time and drives off does he go back into the house, making sure to leave the top lock off for when Samu comes home. Sighing, he crosses his arms and he thinks, head tilted to the side. Why would Osamu lie to him like that? Was it a doctor's appointment he had to go to? Maybe. No. Osamu went to the doctor last week. Did he have to stay behind because he failed a test, or something? He knew he could always tell Atsumu and stuff about that, and his brother would never judge him. He chews on his bottom lip for a while, debating whether or not he should do something, but Atsumu had always been one to act out of curiosity. Making his way up their stairs, he comes up to Osamu's room and opens it quietly, as if either their mom or him would pop out of nowhere and scream at him. Silently, he walks around the room. Osamu's backpack wasn't here, so he couldn't snoop through that. If I were Osamu, where would I hide something? Atsumu looks around the room, contemplating, before resting on Osamu's bedside dresser. Gotcha. He knew Osamu was one to always try to outsmart him. He would have told himself, OMG, this spot is so obvious, but it's so obvious that Atsumu would never look in here, therefore whatever deep dark secrets I have, they should all go into here because he would never look even though it's so obvious. Atsumu smirks, shaking his head. Stupid Samu. Creeping over to the dresser, he grabs onto the first drawer and slides it open, finding nothing but little notes he and Suna passed to each other in class, some of them covered in hearts and pick-up lines, and manga left unfinished. He wrinkles his nose when he spots a melted chocolate bar, doing his brother a favor and tossing it into the trash. After finding nothing in the top drawer, he moves on to the second one, which he immediately cringes at when he spots condoms. Well, at least I know Suna's wrapping his tool. He uses a notebook to push them aside, refusing to touch them, and underneath that notebook, Atsumu's eyes go wide. Osamu's hands were shaking. Quite violently, too. He had no idea how he managed to drive home from Suna's house without getting into a car wreck, but he managed, and now he was sitting in the driveway of his home, anxiety through the roof. It was almost dinner time, and he knew his mom was going to bed asking what he was doing for so long, if she was even cooking. It was mainly just him and Atsumu fending for themselves, ever since their dad left. That thought sends Osamu's anxiety even higher, shoving his face into his palms. What was he going to tell Atsumu? Suna told him to just get it over with, but Osamu blinks, ignoring the pressure building behind his eyes. No, Suna was right. He had to get this over with. He gets out of his car, backpack slung over his shoulder, and makes sure to lock it before taking the long walk up to his front door. When he enters, the house is almost screaming with silence. He slips off his shoes at the door, and makes his way to his room. This type of silence was uncanny. Even if their mother didn't speak to them very often unless she needed a favor, she would at least have the television on while she sipped on sake and talked shit about her students over the phone to a friend. And if that wasn't enough, Atsumu would either be raging over a video game, or talking to his boyfriend over the phone. He sighs when he makes it to his door, opening it. Osamu's mouth falls open when he finds Atsumu curled up on his bed, letting his bag slip down his shoulder and fall to the floor. He pads over to his bed and looks over his twin. His phone is beside his face, Sakusa's name on the screen. They were probably on call when he fell asleep. He then looks down to where Atsumu's hands are pressed to his chest in a tight ball, a crushed envelope in them. Osamu? The voice is barely heard. Osamu brings the phone up to his ear. Sakusa? You should wake him up and talk. Yeah, thanks. Tell him to call me back when you guys are finished. Alright. Sakusa doesn't bother to say goodbye. He just hangs up the phone, locking Atsumu's phone. He places it on his bedside dresser, and leans down to press a hand to Atsumu's head. His cheeks have dried tears on them. Shit. Atsumu. Osamu moves his hand to his twin's shoulder, shaking it gently. His twin merely sniffs. Atsumu. Come on man. Wake up. He shakes Atsumu one more time, and it's enough to jostle him. Swollen eyelids blinking open and revealing glossy, honey-colored eyes. Atsumu. Atsumu swallows, looking around him. You fell asleep. Oh. Atsumu sits up, yawning and stretching out his limbs. Osamu watches his right hand, which is still clutched onto his waitlist letter. Atsumu, I think we should talk. Atsumu adjusts himself so he's sitting crisscrossed applesauce. What is there to talk about? You're leaving me. Atsumu. Do you remember the day we realized Dad wasn't coming home? It was last December, and it was snowing, and yet I was so upset I ran out of the house in just volleyball shorts and a t-shirt. My feet were bare, I didn't have a scarf, or anything, and yet, I was so upset I just continued to run, and run, and run, until I finally collapsed underneath a tree. Osamu sits down beside his twin. I went after you. Yeah, you ran after me. No protection against the snow either, and when you got to me, all you could do was hug me, because as a kid, Mom always said that hugging helps with everything. Osamu stays silent as tears well up in Atsumu's eyes, the blonde reaching up and rubbing at his nose with the end of his sweater. You told me that it didn't matter that Dad left, because we had each other. We did have each other. So that makes it okay for you to leave now? Samu, you promised we would go to the same university together, that we'd live with our boyfriends side by side, so that we could see each other every day. Atsumu. What is this college? Anyways, you wanna stay with mom? She's doesn't even give a shit about us anymore. Knowing her, she'd be glad to see us go. Atsumu. Can you please stop talking? Atsumu licks his lips, looking down at his lap, a straight hair falling onto his light blue shorts. I'm not leaving you, okay? Cooking is the only thing I'm good at. You're good at volleyball and already got into the University of Tokyo on a full scholarship. Atsumu. Please. Atsumu's bottom lip trembles. Osamu. Why? Because I'm not smart like you. Atsumu. If I went onto the volleyball team, I'd have to choose a major that's not culinary. I'd have to go into sports medicine, or some shit. You can still. I wouldn't be able to. You know that. Atsumu swallows. I don't see why not. Because our scholarship requires us to take certain classes. You know that. Then couldn't you just come with me still? Go to a university nearby. I don't know why you have to be so far away. It isn't that far away. Atsumu. It's far enough. I don't. How am I supposed to survive in university without you? You still have Sakusa. Suna's still going. Kita goes there too. Some of the guys from Nakoma and Karasuno. They and you. Samu. Atsumu looks at him, teary-eyed. You promised you would never leave me. Osamu bites his lips, his own eyes tearing up. I'm not leaving you. Atsumu. You think I'm seriously not gonna visit every weekend? See you and Suna play? It's not the same. Atsumu. Aren't you the one who always tells me to go after what I want? Atsumu pouts. We're gonna be fine. Atsumu. When I saw the letter, you're my only family. Samu. I can't lose you. Osamu lets his first tear fall, but he still smiles nonetheless. And you're not gonna lose me. Atsumu. We might be some hours away, but we can still call, and text, and video chat. You can be my taste tester for all my onigiri and baking. I'm sure me learning to cook will make Christmas better. Atsumu laughs. I dunno. I think the microwavable turkey we've been having every year is pretty ace. Osamu laughs with him. True. I don't think I can ever match up to that. Atsumu's laugh falls, and he licks his lips. So, you promise? Of course I do. Atsumu. Besides, I don't think Kita or Sakusa would let me do that to you. They'd both come after me with chainsaws. Atsumu giggles. Yeah. Too bad my best friend would take your side. Yeah. Well, Suna loves me more now and you're just gonna have to deal. I know he loves you cause I saw what was in your drawer. Osamu turns red. You saw that stuff? I'm gonna have to have a long talk with him. Ugh. Atsumu. What? He needs to make sure he continues to protect himself. I don't need my brother falling sick. Why do you automatically assume those are his? Atsumu gives him a pointed look. Fine. They are his. Whatever. As long as you're protected. I don't care. Oh yeah? And what about you and Sakusa? This ain't about us. Well, now it is. Should I call him? I have his number, you know. Atsumu turns red. Osamu. No. Why not? If you know my boyfriend wraps his tool, I should know your boyfriend wraps his. Ugh. You're so embarrassing. Osamu stands up from the bed, taking his phone out of his pocket and weaving around Atsumu's hands that try to grab at him. Siri. Call Atsumu's boyfriend. Atsumu's boyfriend? Seriously? He needs to think I don't like him. It keeps him on his toes. Oh my god, I am going to kill you. Hello? Hey, Sakusa. Omi don't leave. Atsumu squeals when Osamu smacks him on the face. So I just have a question for you. The night is spent with an overly flustered Sakusa and Atsumu trying to defend themselves from Osamu's teasing. But as it slowly starts to die, Osamu cooking in the kitchen as Atsumu reads the directions of what they are making off the back of the box. The two twins know that while the future may be approaching soon, nothing will truly ever change. Finn.
Hey guys. It's me again. Are you guys interested in buying some Haikyuu merch? If you click the link in my description, you'll be able to find plenty from Karasuno High to Nakoma, and even Fukurodani. You'll also be able to get awesome discounts from 17 to 71% off. So, what are you waiting for? Go click the link in my description and get yourself some awesome merch today.